your #1 source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Starting today, drivers in Raleigh should be aware of a new traffic pattern here near the Fairgrounds. Just ahead, I'll explain this big project that's currently underway and what areas you should look out for.
And we're seeing a lot of sunshine this morning. It's bright out the door. Coming up, I'll show you how warm our temperatures will get throughout this afternoon.
And how would you like to pull a 30,000-pound airplane with your friends? That's what some people are doing this weekend to support the Special Olympics. The president and CEO will join us live to explain how this event will give them a much needed help. That is so cool. Oh my gosh, I don't think I could pull an airplane. I could try.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it. It's very competitive, but it's a lot of fun.
Oh, that's great. Well, we're excited to talk to them. We're excited that you're joining us on your Monday. A nice start.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Ken Smith along with Michelle McCarthy. Let's bring in meteorologist Peter Sherwood, tracking this beautiful day for us.
We are seeing sunshine now in Lewisburg. Earlier when I showed you guys this camera about an hour ago, we were seeing some lower level clouds. Some of those lower level clouds that were in our northern and eastern counties are now moving out. Expect a lot of sunshine out the door. Currently 50 degrees in Roxborough, not too bad in Fayetteville and Clinton. I have to shout you guys out. That's the only spots we are seeing temperatures in the lower 60s right now. So throughout the afternoon in the Triangle, look for high temperatures to warm up above normal for this time of the year. We're talking about 69 by 12 o'clock, 76 for the afternoon high. As we head into this evening, you're going for a walk. Let's say around 5 o'clock, we'll be at 74. Then we're down to 66 by 7. I am tracking showers to move in this week. Coming up, I'll also break down why those chances will be limited.
All right, thank you, Peta. Major changes for a busy intersection in Raleigh get underway this morning. Hillsborough Street at Blue Ridge Road will be shut down for a project that's expected to take about 2 years to complete. WRAL's Laura Levine has details on how it'll impact your morning commute.
It is very loud and busy out here as DOT workers and vehicles move in and out this area. This is at the intersection of Blue Ridge and Barrow Road. You can see here at the railroad tracks that the road is now closed. This is for the long-awaited Blue Ridge construction project with the goal to help alleviate congestion at this busy intersection. Here's a look at a map showing the areas impacted. Over the next 2 years, the DOT will build an underpass that will carry Blue Ridge Road under Hillsborough Street, Barrow Road, and the NC Railroad tracks that all meet at the southeast corner of the State Fairgrounds. Essentially, the project will raise the railroad tracks and eliminate that crossing near the busy intersection. We spoke with Brandon Jones, the division engineer, about this significant project.
It really makes up one of the more complicated signal systems in the state. Because of all the railroad preemptions and 2 full movement intersections back to back.
When the underpass is done, both Blue Ridge and Hillsborough will also have sidewalks for the first time. This will not impact any rail service. The project is expected to take 2 years to complete, so this means we will see some road closures as well during the North Carolina State Fair next year and the North Carolina State University football season. Laura Levine, WRAL News, Raleigh.
This morning, we're working to learn more about the conditions of 6 people, including 2 children, who were shot in downtown Oxford over the weekend. Authorities say the shooting happened around 9:30 Saturday night on Piedmont Avenue, just about a half mile from the Oxford Police Department. We know all 6 people ended up in the hospital, and 4 of them were airlifted out of the area for emergency treatment. The victims range in age from 18 months old to 64 years old. Oxford City Commissioner Brian Cohn says he heard dozens of shots and saw a horrifying sight when he arrived at that scene.
People screaming, there was EMS on site, police officers were transporting victims to the hospital in the back of patrol cars. It was an absolute horror scene.
Witnesses say the shots were fired from a car that quickly left the area. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Oxford Police Department.
New this morning, the results are in for tests aimed at measuring student progress nationwide. North Carolina posted its worst scores in the last 20 years. That's on track with the numbers that we're seeing nationally. The National Assessment for Educational Progress is a test from the federal level that shows where states stack up against each other. In our state, 4th and 8th grade students scored worse on math and reading exams this spring than before the pandemic. And the drops in math scores are the biggest in the history of the test. Still, North Carolina schools are on par with the national results. And this afternoon, Wake County school leaders will discuss state standardized test scores. The district's Committee on Student Achievement will talk about pandemic learning loss. They expect pandemic-related learning disruptions to send more ripple effects through school systems. At today's meeting, they'll be taking a closer look at the math curriculum in Wake County. Soon, you could have your chance to weigh in on math lessons in schools.
The 2022 North Carolina State Fair is in the record books. It ended at 11 last night, and crews immediately got to work, taking down rides and cleaning up the fairgrounds. If you're already missing the fair, like I am, mark your calendar. October 12th, 2023. That will be the first day of next year's fair. It'll be here before you know it. Well, this morning we're expecting a final tally on the number of people who visited the fairgrounds during the 11-day run of the state fair. Fair officials are expected to release the unofficial final attendance numbers in just a few hours. Now, through Saturday, more than 854,000 people visited the fairgrounds. That includes nearly 137,000 people on Saturday alone.
We could soon be getting some real answers about reported sightings of UFOs. A look at a hand-picked team from NASA kicking off a new study.
Also coming up, it's a malicious but common trick. Scammers threatening to shut off your water or electricity if you don't pay up immediately. A warning about the call you need to watch out for coming up. Let's welcome back meteorologist Peter Sherwood.
I'm tracking a big fall warm-up this week. We're going to head from 76 today to 78 tomorrow on Wednesday. Coming up, I'm going to show you why we'll also have limited rain chances this week.
You are looking live at North Hills this morning. It is a gorgeous Monday morning. You're watching WRAL News, available on YouTube TV and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. New cases of RSV, a common cold-like virus, have hit the highest level for any single week in the past 2 years. CDC data shows more than 7,300 cases of respiratory syncytial virus were reported last week in the U.S. Doctors say the recent surge is taking a toll on the nation's healthcare system, especially since it's coming earlier in the season.
It's 2-3 times the volume we're seeing. In my patient panel alone, I'm admitting 1 to 2 kids or more per week, which is not typical.
That doctor says parents should watch out for symptoms of lethargy, breathing difficulties, and flaring of nostrils. Federal data shows pediatric beds are more full now than any time in the past 2 years.
President Biden will get an updated COVID-19 booster, and he wants the rest of America to follow suit. The White House says President Biden will get his shot tomorrow. So far, about 20 million Americans have gotten the updated vaccines. The new boosters are designed to combat COVID-19 variants, including Omicron subvariants. The CDC says 4.5 million Americans got boosters last week, the most in 1 week since the fall vaccination push started. Well, we are 14 days away from the midterm elections. Campaigns all across the country are ramping up last-minute efforts. Richard Jordan has a look at what tactics could backfire and cause people not to cast a ballot.
With midterm elections right around the corner, a new Associated Press NORC poll finds 71% of voters believe the future of the country is at stake this November, regardless of their political affiliation.
Majorities of Republicans and Democrats are deeply dissatisfied with the way things are going in the country and pessimistic about the state of politics. Despite that, the poll shows us that voters are motivated to turn out this year. More than 8 in 10 registered voters say it is extremely or very important to them to cast a ballot in this year's elections.
The data suggests the potential for high voter turnout next month. But just like any poll, analysts say the findings are never an exact prediction of the end results. Instead, polls are better for gauging voter attitude on important issues, which could play a role in how they vote.
It's important to have a healthy level of skepticism about polls that are conducted before the election. Who is actually going to go and vote on Election Day is something that a pollster cannot tell you ahead of time. That's probably one of the big reasons for polls being a little bit off in recent elections.
Meanwhile, according to Professor Marjorie Hershey of Indiana University, exposure to negative political ads near the end of a campaign can actually weaken voter turnout.
Conflict is inevitable about politics, but it's also very disconcerting. If they see a lot of attacks against that person they've decided to vote for, one of the things that is, at least in part, likely to happen is that they'll decide, oh, I can't really figure out whether this attack is warranted or not, so maybe I'll just forget the election.
Again, the midterms are 14 days away, and that was Richard Jordan reporting. Another work of art in a European museum has become the target for climate change activists. Protesters in Germany threw mashed potatoes at a Claude Monet painting over the weekend. The two activists then glued themselves to the wall below the painting. They say they did it to protest the use of fossil fuels. Museum officials say the artwork was not damaged, though, because it's enclosed in a glass case.
NASA is starting an independent study today that could soon give us some real answers about those UFO sightings. NASA announced a team of 16 people. They'll be working on the study for the next 9 months. The team is made up of astronomers, astrophysicists, biologists, former Pentagon officials, even a former NASA astronaut. They'll analyze unclassified data and look at ways that NASA can improve its analysis of it. NASA plans to release the team's findings to the public late next year. I am excited for that. I want to know, do they exist? Are they out there, PETA? I mean, what do you think?
You know, I'm very eager to figure out what they're seeing and what they are thinking it is. As in terms of what we are seeing on our satellite and radar right now, we are seeing a high pressure system and an area of low pressure. This area of low pressure that's over the Atlantic continues to fuel in clouds across North Carolina, but it's like a battleground here. This high pressure system will be fighting to give us a lot of sunshine into the afternoon. I think it's going to win over. We are likely to see mostly sunny skies heading throughout the day. Now tonight, we'll see a few more lower level clouds build in, and some of that will stick around into tomorrow morning. But by the afternoon, with this high pressure system still in our vicinity, we are going to see some sunshine break through some of those clouds. Our next cold front will arrive on Wednesday. Take a look at it moving across the North Carolina mountains Wednesday morning. It's going to move closer to us by the afternoon on Wednesday, and we have a chance of seeing some showers ahead of it. Now behind the cold front, we will likely see drier air filter in, and that is why our rain chances will be low for the end of the week leading into the weekend. So we have just a 20% chance of rain today, or I should say on Wednesday, and that small rain chance should not slow you down if you do have any outdoor plans to perhaps take the kids out to the park or even just head out to any of those after-school extracurricular activities. We are going to see this area of low pressure that's in the Atlantic continue to weaken. A 10% chance of development within the next 5 days. It's running into some cooler sea surface temperatures and some strong winds aloft, preventing it from developing. We have another spot that's just towards the east of the Bahamas that we'll have to watch. As of now, a 20% chance of development within the next 5 days. This area is really not conducive for a whole lot of development, but we'll continue to monitor it. Out the door this morning, this is a live look at Raleigh. 55 degrees right now from the Natural Sciences Museum. It's gorgeous. A lot of sunshine going on right now. If you're going for a walk, we'll see temperatures gradually climb into the 60s, getting to 69 by lunchtime, 76 for the high. Evening temperatures, if you're getting out some exercise and doing some exercise today, we'll see those temperatures in the lower 70s as well as the 60s. Now, we do have temperatures surging into the upper 70s by Wednesday. Coming up, I'm going to show you some areas that could see highs in the 80s for this week.
80s, say it so, Peter. All right, thanks. Well, up next, a unique team building activity, if you want to call it that. 5 people versus 1 plane. Find out how you can become the next plane pull champion while raising money for Special Olympics North Carolina.
And we'll have a special look at a destination of healing for people mourning the loss of their loved one.
Welcome back. Strength and determination will be on full display at RD International this coming weekend. Dozens of teams will compete in the annual plane pull benefiting Special Olympics North Carolina. The teams will compete to see which one can pull a 30,000-pound aircraft 25 feet the fastest. And joining us this morning is President and CEO of Special Olympics North Carolina, Keith Fishburne. Keith, always great to see you. Listen, for people who are new to the area, explain the plane pull and describe the festive atmosphere around the plane pull.
Yeah, so this is a great opportunity to come out and really support your community. And like you said, the 5-person teams are put together to pull a regional jet provided this year by Envoy and American Airlines. Basically, the 5 people raised $800 to enter a team and pull that jet the fastest they can for 25 feet. We give prizes for fastest pull. We give prizes for the top fundraising team, the top individual team. So it's just a great way to also bring the family out. We'll have food trucks, we'll have activities for the kids, and it's all, like I say, open, free to the public. And this year, this is the first time we've really returned to our full-scale event because of the pandemic. So spectators are welcome. It's at the UPS Tarmac, by the way.
Yeah, good to know. And I've done that. It's so competitive and so much fun. Remind us how much these proceeds benefit Special Olympics North Carolina.
Yeah. So the event itself will raise over $100,000, and a lot of that comes from our friends at Credit Suisse. But it's going to benefit our program throughout North Carolina. We're a sports organization for people with intellectual disabilities. We don't ask them to pay any costs associated with their local participation up to state level events or national or international events. So this really helps us provide a quality sports program for these folks.
Yeah, so tell us about the open house that you have this coming Thursday for the teams.
Yeah, at our office, which is actually located very near RDU Airport off of Aviation Parkway, we are having an open house from 10 until 2. The team captains can come by and pick up their T-shirts and everything for their teams. But then if you want to enter a team, we've still got 6 spots open. So 6 5-person teams can enter. Just bring along $800 and you can enter a team and get your materials right there at our open house.
Yeah, Keith, so many organizations and companies and civic groups support this event each year. What does it mean to SONC?
You know, it means a lot because we'll have various divisions. You mentioned companies are entered. We'll have all female divisions. We have fitness gyms that bring along teams. And then first and foremost, and one of our greatest supporters are law enforcement and first responders. So as you can see, we've got a whole community of people that come in and help support us. And that means a lot to our Special Olympics athletes and their families.
And before I let you go, I've got to ask you about Over the Edge. It was postponed this month, but it's on December 3rd. Really quickly, tell us about it.
Yeah. So we've got 6 spots open, or actually, I should say 12 spots open. If you raise $1,000, you can rappel off the building downtown at 150 Fayetteville Street. It's a great fundraiser for us. We're going to have 4 ropes going on December the 3rd. So check out our website if you want to see more about that event.
Oh, I still remember doing that Over the Edge event. Keith Fishburne, always a
You were one of the first.
Yes, I remember well. All the best this weekend. Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
Well, the 2022 plane pull will take place Saturday, October 29th at RDU International Airport. The first pull will take place around 9 o'clock in the morning. Check out sonc.net for more information.
I remember when you did that. You did that live on TV.
I did.
And that was fantastic. I was scared for you, but it was great. It was great. It's a beautiful organization, so such a great thing. Well, overcoming grief is a personal battle with varying obstacles, something a farm in Arizona knows all too well as officials work to help people suffering immense loss work through their sadness with the help of animals. Krista Mayo takes a special look.
An Arizona farm home to dozens of rescue animals has become a destination of healing for countless people mourning the loss of their loved ones.
Beauty and pain coexist here. You know, this is the place where they intersect.
It's here at Sella Care Farm where grief unites visitors.
It oddly makes you feel comfortable.
Besides participating in counseling sessions, yoga, meditation, and more, visitors also work with the farm's animals. Many were rescued over the years from abuseful and neglectful homes. Officials say connecting traumatized people with these types of animals is yielding positive results.
The vast majority of people who come here, the animals being rescued, is an incredible shift in their consciousness of oneness, in their capacity to see the suffering of another and to give compassion and also to receive compassion.
According to the CDC, common symptoms of grief include shock, denial, anger, and distress. And because grief can be so painful, officials at Solid Care Farm say many people just don't want to deal with it, leaving those working through their symptoms feeling alone.
It's scary, and I think people let fear get in the way of love. And grieving people sense that. And no wonder grief is such a lonely experience.
But for those attending the farm, there's comfort in knowing that they can exist without being judged or pushed to move on before they're ready.
This is the place you come and your child is going to be talked about and remembered and loved.
All while working alongside people and animals who they feel deeply understand them.
Oh, the power of animals. That was Chris DeMeo reporting.
We got lots more to share with you in the next half hour here on Fox 50. It's a step toward healing for the Raleigh community following the Hedingham mass shooting. Up next, a look at the call to action over the weekend to stop gun violence.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your #1 source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Expect mostly sunny conditions to continue for this afternoon. Coming up, I'm going to show you how warm our temperatures will get with the sunshine.
Plus, a live look at the state fairgrounds as a major cleanup effort gets underway. There it is, when we'll get to see the final attendance numbers. That is coming up.
Also, it's more than just a road race. It's a street party in honor of the Day of the Dead. A guest will tell us about this unique race and celebration that helps support Triangle Youth. And you get to try your Halloween costume all in the same process.
Oh, that's really cool. Yes.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Ken Smith.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. Everybody likes to wear a Halloween costume.
Absolutely.
I mean, I still like to dress up. And, you know, I'm not a kid anymore, but it's still fun. And it's all for a great cause, too.
Absolutely.
So that's going to be awesome. We'll get with them in just a bit. But first, we have to get to meteorologist Peta Sherwood. She has a beautiful look all over town, Peta, this morning, starting off our week so nice.
We are, and we're seeing a lot of sunshine this morning. Earlier, we were seeing a lot of cloud cover. Now, most of those clouds moved out, and we are going to see sunshine persist throughout the rest of the afternoon, helping us to warm up. Although it's milder for this morning in 61 degrees in Fayetteville, 61 in Clinton, 55 in Raleigh and Durham. This afternoon, despite our winds moving in out of the north and west, we will still see warm temperatures develop. We're heading to 69 around lunchtime with a high temperature today of 76 degrees. It is going to be fantastic out there across the triangle. Some of our areas, especially to the south, will head to 79 degrees, especially you guys out in Fayetteville. Coming up, I'm going to show you how much warmer we can see our temperatures get and how soon some areas will head into the 80s.
Peter, thanks. Well, Hillsborough Street at Blue Ridge Road will be shut down for a 2-year project. Once it's done, Blue Ridge will pass underneath Hillsborough Street, the railroad tracks, and Beryl Road. A new street will connect Hillsborough and Blue Ridge. A detour is in place. We're working to learn more about the conditions of 6 people, including 2 children, who were shot in downtown Oxford over the weekend. Authorities say the shooting happened around 9:30 Saturday night on Piedmont Avenue, just about a half mile from the Oxford Police Department. We know all 6 people ended up in the hospital, and 4 of them were airlifted out of the area for emergency treatment. The victims range in age from 18 months old to 64 years old. Witnesses say the shots were fired from a car that quickly drove away from that scene. Anyone with information is encouraged to contact the Oxford Police Department.
Healing from the mass shooting that took 5 lives in Raleigh 10 days ago is only just beginning. Yesterday, hundreds of people gathered downtown for a vigil to remember the victims and help build a movement to stop gun violence. The city of Raleigh, the Raleigh Apex NAACP, and the group Moms Demand Action organized yesterday's event. Governor Roy Cooper joined Raleigh Mayor Mary Ann Baldwin at the vigil in a call for action.
We must keep pushing our legislators to have the political courage to tackle the issue of gun violence head on and to have the willingness to try and seek common sense, common ground.
Cooper says lawmakers must consider red flag laws, fund education programs for safe gun storage, and invest in mental health resources. And the city of Raleigh is offering support to people who need it following that shooting. The city has a website that has a number of resources all in one place. Among them, mental health support, information on how to help the victims' families, and more. You can get to it from the city's homepage.
Today, the fight over documents seized from former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate is taking a new step forward. The former president's legal team is expected to take action today on 15 of the more than 20,000 documents taken during that search at his Florida home. They claim those documents are personal property, pushing back on the Justice Department's claim that the documents are presidential records. It's a sign the legal battle over the seizures will be a long, drawn-out process.
Opening statements in the trial in California against Harvey Weinstein are set to start today. The disgraced movie producer is charged in Los Angeles Superior Court with 11 counts, including forcible rape and sexual battery. 5 accusers are part of the trial. Weinstein is already serving a 23-year prison term for charges filed in New York. He is appealing that conviction.
Well, this morning, a trial for 2 police officers convicted in connection with the killing of George Floyd will begin. J. Alexander King and 2 Tower accused of aiding and abetting murder and manslaughter. They worked with Derek Chauvin on the day he used his knee to pin Floyd to the pavement for nearly 10 minutes, despite Floyd saying he couldn't breathe. Both are serving sentences for violating Floyd's civil rights and rejected plea deals in this case.
Breaking in the WRAL Live Center, Rishi Sunak will become the UK's next Prime Minister. This after the other contenders, Penny Mordaunt and Boris Johnson, pulled out of the race, leaving him as the only person with enough Parliament support. He will replace Liz Truss, who lasted only 44 days on the job. Sunak, you may remember, was Finance Minister under Boris Johnson, and a lot of firsts with Sunak's rise to the top post. He will be the UK's first Prime Minister of color, the first Prime Minister of Indian origin, the first British Asian Prime Minister, and the youngest Prime Minister to take office in 200 years. He is 42 years old.
Winnie, thanks for that update. Well, here's something, you savers. You will be able to put more money away in your tax-deferred retirement plan next year. Also, teenagers across the U.S. love their Chick-fil-A. Let's get right to Maribel Aber at the Money Desk in New York, tracking these business headlines and a look at the opening numbers. Good morning, Maribel.
Hey, good morning, Ken. Wall Street is coming off its best week since June. Today, investors will be watching to see if the momentum can continue. And much of the focus this week will be on earnings, with big names like Apple, Amazon, and Microsoft all set to report quarterly numbers. As for how stocks are starting off the week right now, you got the Dow up right behind me there, up 345 to start the morning. The IRS is increasing the amount you can put into your retirement account starting next year. You can stash up to $22,500 into your 401k. So that's $2,000 more than the present limit. And the IRS is increasing how much you can put into both a Roth and a traditional IRA. That new limit will be $6,500, up from $6,000. The increases are the largest ever and largely due to inflation. The contribution limits are indexed to the rate of inflation. So what's the #1 restaurant for Gen Z? Chick-fil-A. The chicken chain came out on top in the annual survey of more than 14,000 teens by Piper Sandler, with an 18% share. Starbucks was second at 17%, and Chipotle rounded out the top 3 with 13%. The investment bank also looked at other trends among teens. It found Nike was still the #1 brand for apparel and footwear, and Netflix was the leader for where teens spent time watching videos. YouTube was close behind in second. So, Ken, at least in terms of cool, I'm a cool kid with Chick-fil-A.
You and me both. And apparently Franklin loves their grilled nuggets, so we'd be at Chick-fil-A at least once or twice a week. So we're right there with everybody, and you. Maribel, always great to see you.
Yes, Chick-fil-A. I like that, too. That's a good one. All right, happening now, a massive cleanup effort is underway at the Fairgrounds hours after the last visitors left the 2022 North Carolina State Fair. WRAL's Brett Neese has a look at the progress so far.
That huge cleanup effort got underway as soon as gates closed last night, and all of this that you see behind me, including that big Ferris wheel, will be coming down within the next couple of days. Take a look at new video from overnight of the cleanup effort. You can see all the vendors packing away their gear, the prizes being bagged up, and the rides starting to come down along with the tents as yet another state fair is in the books. And this year's theme was So Happy Together, and that's what we really heard from a number of people that were out here over the course of this year's State Fair. They said they were just happy to be back together, to feel some sense of normalcy coming out of the pandemic. And that really showed true in the attendance numbers themselves. A couple of days this year actually beat pre-pandemic attendance numbers. And so far, we only have attendance numbers through Saturday, and that total surpassed all of last year's attendance. Right now, that number is sitting just under 900,000 people, and once we get Sunday's final tally, we'll see how close we get to 1 million people attending the 2022 State Fair. I'll keep you updated. In Raleigh, Brett Neese, WRAL News.
As winter approaches, scammers are calling homeowners, threatening to cut off their utilities if they don't pay up immediately. Up next, we'll hear from 2 people targeted and show what everyone needs to know so you don't waste your money.
Plus, the countdown is on for the annual Day of the Dead 5K. Up next, a guest will give us a preview of this amazing race, street party, and celebration.
Breaking in the WRAL Live Center within the last 30 minutes, the teenager who killed 4 classmates in a shooting rampage at a Michigan high school last year pleaded guilty to 24 charges, including a charge of terrorism. We're talking about Ethan Crumley. He was 15 when he opened fire at Oxford High School in Michigan in November 2021. He was charged as an adult. His state terrorism charge is unusual, and it represents a new approach to prosecuting these school shootings. Experts say it may mark a turning point in how mass shootings are prosecuted.
All right, thanks, Renee. And turning now to this, runners, get ready to lace up your shoes for the 10th annual Day of the Dead 5K. The race celebrates the Mexican holiday that honors the deceased. And joining us now to tell us more about the event, this awesome event, is organizer Angela Salamanca. Thank you so much for joining us. We are so excited to have you on the show. You created the race more than a decade ago. We have to know what inspired this event and why is it so important to you?
It was the memory of my sister. She passed away 19 years ago, and we wanted to honor her. And this holiday just was a really good way for me to deal with my grief and remember her in a really beautiful, colorful way. We did a couple bike rides the first 2 years, and then we decided to do this 5K as a way of reaching a lot more people so we can educate them about the Day of the Dead, which, 10 years ago wasn't really familiar for folks.
Well, it looks beautiful, and it's just such a special way to remember your sister. What makes this race course so unique?
We have partnered with the Boys and Girls Club of Brentwood, and it benefits them, and we get about 130 kids to run the race. The course of the race is through downtown Raleigh, and then we enter the cemetery, the historic Oakwood Cemetery, and we run about a mile in there, and then come back to the restaurant, and that's where we do our awards. We have a dance contest, and we also have a costume contest. So it's really, really fun because people dress up, and then we see all the little kids running through downtown, through the cemetery, and then come back and dance. It's just a really wonderful day.
Wow, that sounds amazing. So you mentioned the Boys and Girls Club. The event is a fundraiser for the Boys and Girls Club. Tell us about that program and how it's helping those at-risk youth in our communities.
Yes, so we wanted to give back to the Latin American community, and the Brentwood Club benefits about 90% of Latin American kids with their after-school programs. So when we met their director, Pepe Caudillo, who's from Mexico, we knew this was going to be a really good fit for us to be able to raise funds for them.
That's amazing. And some people might be wondering, are there any sponsorship opportunities?
Not anymore, but you can donate.
Okay.
The race website is Day of the Dead 5K Run. And you can register all the way till the day of the race, which is October 29. Race starts at 10 in the morning. We encourage everybody to dress up. We just set up a Day of the Dead altar at the cemetery that is going to be up until November 2nd. So when you run the race, you can see it as you enter the cemetery. So yeah, you can donate, you can sponsor a little kid to run. It's about $30 to sponsor a little kid. Like I said, we're gonna have about 130 kids from all the different Boys and Girls Club in the area running the race. Or you could just do a donation, or you can run. I mean, there's lots of ways to help.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it looks so special. It's so special to you. It's an amazing event. Thank you so much, Angela, for joining us this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Ken?
All right, Michelle. It's a malicious but common trick. Scammers threatening to shut off your water or electricity if you don't pay up immediately. Consumer reporter John Matteries warns about a call you need to watch out for so you don't get scammed or waste your money.
As we head into winter, having your gas, electric, and water services more effective than ever. That's why utility shutoff scams can be very effective right now.
Inspection.
Lisa Shook manages a home inspection company. She just got a call from someone claiming to be their electric company.
And that he was in the driveway to cut off our services.
She handed the phone to owner Rob Wells, who was told he was behind on his bill and would be cut off if he didn't pay immediately.
Yeah, it's $350-something. They're going to disconnect the electric.
But it's all a scam. Just like with all good scams, the caller makes it sound urgent, where if you don't pay them right now, your electric is going off. Denise Banks always pays her water bill. But the other day,
I received a phone call on my cell phone.
A caller claiming to be from her local waterworks said she was about to be cut off.
They knew my name and they said, "We're here to talk to you about your disconnect notice. We have someone outside that's going to disconnect your water."
They demanded she pay $235 via Zelle. So she gave her bank information and within seconds,
automatically went into my personal checking and savings, and it took all of my money.
energy company spokesman Lee Friedman says utilities will never threaten you with immediate disconnection.
If you're at risk of losing service, you will receive multiple messages over an extended period of time, bills, phone calls.
But as winter approaches, it's easy to be frightened by the thought of disconnection and do exactly what the caller says. Lisa Shook and Denise Banks just want to warn others.
Just call back in and talk to somebody, in person.
So look up their number, call them, and make sure you're talking to the real utility so you don't waste your money. I'm John Matteries, WRAL News.
Such good advice. Well, we're in for a warm-up. Let's get right to meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the WRAL-TV Weather Center.
Ken, it's gorgeous out there this morning. We're seeing sunshine in a few spots like Wilson, those clouds breaking apart. We have a nice breeze going on there. Currently 62 degrees, 55 in Apex and 62 degrees in Rocky Mount. We're going to continue to get our temperatures to warm up for the rest of this morning and into the afternoon. So we will make our way to around 63 by 11. 76 will be the afternoon high today. You won't need those jackets walking the dog this evening. We'll see those temperatures in the lower 70s as well as the mid 60s and expect a decent amount of sunshine heading throughout the afternoon. Now, I am tracking a nice dip in the jet stream that will inch closer and closer to us, especially by the middle of the week. But take a look at the warmth that will be surging in ahead of this jet stream. You'll notice all the warm temperatures outlined by the orange and yellow shadings here, and that does include us here in North Carolina. So if you are a fan of warm temperatures, I think this week is your week. We are going to see temperatures above normal for this time of the year. So 77 in Durham today, 76 in Raleigh, and 79 degrees in Fayetteville. Watch Fayetteville very closely here. Leading into tomorrow, we're looking at high temperatures in the 80s across Fayetteville and then across the Sandhills. A lot of you guys will be seeing those temperatures in the 80s, like Southern Pines getting to 80 degrees on Wednesday, 82 in Clinton, 81 in Goldsboro. 78 will be the high temperature in Raleigh and Durham for Wednesday. Looking ahead into the end of the month, leading into next month, November 6th, above normal warmth trending for the Midwest, the Northeast, and the Southeast. We are going to continue to see fairly warm conditions across our region. So while we're going to be in the 70s and heading into the next several days, just notice that warm up moving in on Wednesday with our next cold front. 78 by Wednesday afternoon. A small chance of a few showers ahead of this boundary. It is going to be moisture starved, so I'm not anticipating a lot of rain with Wednesday's front. And behind it, we're not anticipating a big drop in our temperatures. We're down to 71 Friday, 70 degrees on Saturday. Another chance of rain moving in on Sunday with high temperatures in the upper 60s.
Hey, Peter, thanks. Well, calling all tailgate chefs.
Oh, if you have a passion for chili, Bush's Beans wants to pay you $20,000 to make it at a football game. We'll have those details next.
You're not hungry, are you?
Oh, gosh, yes.
Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa's return to the field was a successful one. The Dolphins took down the Pittsburgh Steelers last night in Sunday Night Football. Tua played his first game since suffering a scary concussion a little more than 3 weeks ago. The Dolphins won that game 16-10.
And this morning, baseball fans are on celebration mode on opposite sides of the country. In Houston, Astros fans watched their team sweep the New York Yankees to head to the World Series. Hours earlier, fans poured into the streets of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, for the Phillies win over San Diego. It's the first time the Phillies have made the World Series since going back in 2008 and 2009. They did win in 2008. Well, if you consider yourself a chili expert, there's a new job for you, and it comes with perks, Ken.
Yeah.
Bush's Beans will pay you $20,000 to be its first ever chili commissioner.
How about that?
What is that?
Well, this dream job comes with a paid trip to co-host a tailgate at the SEC Championship game in December alongside The Office actor Brian Baumgartner.
That is so cool. The
Very
gig
cool.
also includes a year's supply of Bush's chili beans, plus a collaboration on an official chili recipe. People interested have until November 8th to submit an application. I have to say, I'm going to give myself some props here. I make some good chili.
Really?
I do.
You know, by saying that, you've got to bring some in.
I know. Now I have to give some to Ken,
Okay,
'cause he's a
there you
foodie. Yeah. All right, well, if you're feeling lucky, tonight's Powerball drawing may be calling your name.
Yeah, the jackpot for tonight's drawing, $610 million. That's the 8th largest Powerball jackpot in the game's 30-year history. Now, if you win and choose the lump sum cash prize, it's worth $292 million. Not a bad payday, actually. You can watch tonight's drawing on WRAL right before our 11 o'clock news.
I have a couple ideas of what I would do with $200 million.
I think we all do.
Yes.
But will you come to work?
Yes, I still would.
You know what? I would too.
Yeah, don't give it up. Yes,
Oh.
yeah. All right, guys, thanks for joining us.
Have a great day.
Local news doesn't stop here. Coverage continues across all major streaming platforms using the WRAL app and on WRAL.com.
Today at noon on WRAL News, we're analyzing emergency communications calls to learn more about a shooting that injured 6 people, including 2 children. And a devastating report out today shows math scores fell for 8th graders in nearly every state, how North Carolina fared, and suggestions to turn those numbers around. Plus, expect above average temperatures today across the viewing area. Meteorologist Brian Schrader is in for Elizabeth with how long this beautiful weather will last.